Welcome to Through the Lens of Astrology. I'm your host, Heather Arielle, and it is Aquarius season. The show is airing. We're taping a little early, but the show airs January 20th. So last night, the sun entered Aquarius. So we got a special Aquarius Oracle card spread. So we want to connect to all that unique humanitarian energy coming in. We're also in a double retrograde. Both Venus and Mercury are retrograde right now. Venus in Capricorn, but Mercury is in Aquarius. Yeah, like the sun. So we're going to do a unique Mercury retrograde oracle card spread today to, help us connect to that energy. And if you want to check out the Venus retrograde oracle card spread we did last week, well, you can find my Heather Arielle's House of Astrology YouTube channel, and you can catch that video. Yeah, and get all those inspirational messages. And we do a deep dive into, all things, how to really make the most of a Venus retrograde. And you can also check out my Facebook page, Heather Arielle's House of Astrology, and there are articles and all kinds of current astrological information. So, okay, Aquarius, here we go. Now, these cards, these are oracle cards that I created with artist Tom Cummins, who, guess what? Is a beautiful Aquarian. Yeah, and just look at this. This is one of my favorite watercolors from the whole. I mean, just look at this. Oh my gosh, this Aquarian. And if you're listening to my Through the Lens of Astrology radio show, definitely go on, because I'm going to have pictures of these cards up, and you're going to want to see this Aquarian watercolor. I mean, it's like every color, and it's, as the card says, to thine own self be true. Yeah. Thank you, Polonius from Hamlet, for that one, Mr. Shakespeare. No one sees the world quite the way you do. Celebrate. Celebrate your unique style, your unique voice, and one of a kind style. Oh my goodness. That, in a nutshell, that's Aquarius. Yeah. And that's the energy that is around all of us right now. Okay. So now, as I talk about these energies, I always say, if you have these zodiac signs in your chart, and remember, we got the sun, but we got the personal planets, right? You got the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, right? You got the ascendant, you got the midheaven. If you have this energy in your chart, then everything I talk about, well, these are gifts that are available to you every single moment, right? And then for the rest of us, when the energy enters into these signs, that's our chance to connect and say, okay, let's connect to some of this. It's a little bit easier for us. But when you do have this energy in your natal chart, then when it comes your time, I like to say, step up to the plate, share your gifts with the group, because that's what it's all about. They're gifts for all of these signs. There's the beautiful nuance and duality, right? And no sign is good, no sign is bad. They all have these beautiful gifts. So we want to celebrate our own energy by sharing. Yeah. So, okay. So, Aquarius. Now, Aquarius is the element. What element is it? It is air. Okay. Now, air, that goes with Gemini, it goes with Libra. Those are the air signs. And air signs are all about the mind, right? It's ideas. What, if you're an air sign, sort of the first question you may ask is like, well, what do you think about that? You hear something, you witness something, even something very emotional. It's almost like you have a thought about it, right? Or you're going to articulate how it makes you feel. It's like describe almost in a meticulous detail, almost in a detached way, how you feel about a very emotional response. And somebody may even be thinking, well, are you feeling it though? Because you're so good talking about your feelings. So, but yes, yes, they are, and we are. I have a lot of air too. So, air just is of the mind. Connect always if you're an air sign, and Aquarius more than any other. Oh my gosh, it's like epiphanies, it's a genius. Yeah, it's like, woo, light bulbs going off. Honor your thoughts, write them down, communicate them, teach, learn, however you want to do it. But honor your ideas. You're going to have unusual, unique ideas. And sometimes they could be, which I'll talk about in a little bit, because of the two rulers, it's one of the most complicated And it's one of the most complicated signs because it's ruled by two planets, which I'm going to talk about. But just keep in mind, okay, we are in the air mode. So what are you thinking? And let's thoughts are things, and let's honor them. Now, the modality, okay, the modality is fixed. So there's tremendous strength with Aquarius, okay? Now, the fixed signs, we think of Taurus, right? The bull, it's like it's going, you're not going to budget, right? Leo's very, very strong as well, all right? That fixed energy. Okay, now with Aquarius, the fixity again comes with the mind because it's about ideas. So Aquarians always do a check-in with what are you thinking, what are you doing? You have the stamina to complete your projects. That's fixity. But if an Aquarian gets out of balance, then sometimes they can get too attached to an idea. So you want to always, if you're challenged, allow that new information in and say, okay, all right, because there's beautiful strength with the fixity, but there's also sometimes you need a little adaptability, right? Or a little modification of an idea. Now, one of the things I just find the most fascinating about Aquarius energy, the planets that are connected to it, both Saturn and Uranus. Okay. So, because they're so different. All right. Now, Uranus, we often think of Aquarius because Aquarius is like, oh, it's out there. It's like, let your freak flag fly. Okay. And it can be shockingly different. Right. So, we're going to talk about that. Those are the Uranian ones. They're the reformers, the rebels. They shock us. They do things. You're like, oh my gosh. Okay. But then you got the Saturn Aquarians, and they're much more traditional, stable, like they just kind of blend into society, but yet they could be, very much into science, into technology, things that are very respected, right? And that they can still be reformers, and they will, they can really fight for the underdog because it's the tremendous humanitarian energy, right? But they may do it in a more traditional way, right? So it's like we've got these, so you always want to, whenever you connect with an Aquarian. I got a lot in my family. And my Mars is an Aquarius. So the whole ruler of my chart is Aquarius. So also think about that. Rulers of your chart, right? What's your ascendant? What's your rising sign? If Aquarius rules that, it's elevated in your chart. So always find out what's the ruler of your chart. Okay. Um, then it's like then ask yourself, well, figure out, what does your Aquarian, does it resonate, does your Aquarian resonate with the Saturn or with the Uranus? Because it's going to be a lot easier to connect and communicate with that individual, right, when you really see that. Okay, and I'm going to give you some examples, and we're going to talk about that. Okay, now the house, because remember, there are all these areas of experience. Okay, so Aquarius is connected to the 11th house. All right. And the 11th house, I love it. It's the James Taylor song, You've Got a Friend. And it's beautiful. It is the house of friends, right? So, and it's also the house of, da 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 da, yeah, your hopes and your dreams. Oh my gosh, it's a very significant house. And it, embrace your heart's desire. Yeah, the card says your deepest hopes and wishes are coming true. Oh my gosh. So it's like this is the wish house. Yeah. And so you always want to, when your 11th house is activated or when you have Aquarius energy, just always connect to not only your friends, right? Because there's that humanitarian, the group, the emphasis on the group, but connect to your hopes and dreams, right? Because because that's a very individual, right? You want to say, okay, your most original ideas, what do you really care about? That's what you want to ask, and that's going to really stimulate. And then it's also organizations to which you belong. Yeah, because it's the emphasis is on the group. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and I talked a lot about this when Saturn entered Aquarius. So Saturn is in Aquarius right now, and it's been in Aquarius now for about, for a little, it stays for a couple of years in each sign. And Saturn, I always say, is the path that, if we want to say, well, what's a path that we can all follow no matter what else is going on? look to Saturn, because Saturn says if we follow Saturn's path, then we will honor the group. And then that is it's the responsible path to say things can get better if we all do that. And so Saturn in Aquarius right now, and it's been going on, through this pandemic, it is the humanitarian path. It is the path of the group, and it is the path of the science and the technology, right? And we've got the beautiful vaccines, and all of that is, we really need to honor the science, right? And so, and if we connect to the group, I mean, my goodness, more than ever, we have to take actions that benefit the group, right? When something like, what's been going on is going on. So it is the perfect energy. um and it's also saying, and I talked about this a lot, but if you're just tuning in, Aquarius, it's about the group, but you still get to let your freak flag fly. You still get to be an individual. So go ahead and be as eccentric, as original as you want to be. By doing that and by sharing your individual talent, you benefit the group. So you get the best of both worlds. You get a twofer, right? Then Saturn's going to go into Pisces, and that's a little bit different. That's going to be more the unified energy. Now we had Jupiter for a good year in Aquarius, and that was coming together. Jupiter's in Pisces now. Jupiter loves to be in Pisces. So already we're bringing in some of that Pisces too, which is the visionary dream, the ideal, right? And it is somebody cuts themselves, you bleed. We are unified, and there's more of a blending with Pisces, okay? And so Jupiter and Pisces stimulates the desire in all of us for, like, we want to reach for that unification, okay? But how are we going to achieve it? We're going to achieve it through following the Aquarian principle. That's how you combine Jupiter in Pisces with Saturn in Aquarius. Allow your desire to really blend with somebody, and to have that universal love. But we're going to have to do it through the Aquarian means, because that's what Saturn's telling us. And yeah, right now with Sun in Aquarius, and Mercury is in Aquarius too, retrograde. So, it really is the Aquarian path. And of course, we have the age of Aquarius. So remember, we have all of these layers, the beautiful nuance and duality of astrology. And we want to connect to it in the most personal way that we can. Okay, so now, all right, so let's look, as we're going to do a nice Aquarian oracle card spread to bring in that energy. But I was just watching a show with Eddie Izzard, and the British comedian, from a January 3rd, 2021 article by Megan Johnson, recently asked to be identified with she and her pronouns. Okay. So she came out in defense of author J.K. Rowling's stance on transgender issues. So what a great example of Aquarian energy, where, yeah, you stand out for being really different. And I just thought, let me just read from the article. It's so beautiful. I don't think J.K. Rowling is transphobic. I think we need to look at the things she has written about in her blog. Women have been through such hell over history, the star added in reference to the controversy surrounding the Harry Potter author's comments. Trans people have been invisible too. I hate the idea we are fighting between ourselves, but it's not going to be sorted with the wave of a wand. I don't have all the answers. If people disagree with me, fine. But why are we going through hell on this? I just thought, and she says that she's Eddie Izzard says that she's uh, defines herself as a gender fluid, and I thought, oh, that's so beautiful, and just so beautifully Aquarian, that we have to recognize that we are wildly different, and it can appear as eccentric, and that you have what is considered like in the center, that's very normal and traditional, and then the Aquarian energy is the circle, it's surrounding that, and it wakes people up. That's the Uranian aspect of Aquarian energy. it awakens us. And so it can be many things. It can be, oh, okay, it can be the whole, it's like you can even be, you can be an astrologer, right? You can be an atheist over here. I always talk about Bill Maher as a great Aquarian example. Politically incorrect, I mean, that's such an Aquarian title. All right. But it's like you've got, so it's you're having ideas that people in the center may look out, and it makes them feel a little uncomfortable, but it then asks us to wake up and look at our own cultural imprint. That's a beautiful blessing of Aquarian energy. So we really need it. And as I said, it's the Saturn in Aquarius. We really need it to guide us. So allow when you're exposed to Aquarian energy to wake you up. And it doesn't mean that you have to, yeah, it's like become an atheist or become an astrologer, but you want to be, you want to allow that to um, inspire you. And with Eddie Izzard, and I mean, this is just so beautiful. And, um, and that's very much, that the gender fluidity is really falling under that energy as well. And it's, and then I think of, the reform issues, right? I just saw Don't Look Up with Jennifer Lawrence and Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'll tell you, the reform, the systemic sexism that goes on. And just look at Jennifer Lawrence's character. She's this brilliant scientist, and she discovers the asteroid that's the whole movie is about, and she's completely sidelined because she's deemed too emotional, right? And she's and so it's just, I mean, that's the sexism of, oh, we want, we expect sexism, we expect people to behave in a certain way, right? And then when they don't, it's like we've got this in the center, and then it's like, oh, wait a second, what are you doing? So Aquarius says, well, no, yeah, we need to recognize and let the freak flag fly. It's beautiful. Okay. And that even is has a beautiful Aquarian message of um, science. It's all about, hey, trust the science. This is a really big deal. That asteroid is a big deal. And they were kind of, they weren't really paying attention to either the Jennifer Lawrence character or the Leonardo DiCaprio character of the science or any of that. And that's beautiful. And that's a beautiful move about climate change, which gets more into Virgo, but that is those are really gorgeous examples. So you know what I just thought of? I'm watching something. Eddie Izzard even plays a character, Harry. And then you think of, I listen to a lot of Harry Styles. He's Aquarian. He's got a lot of Aquarian. And he's unique. I saw him in a beautiful dress on, I think it was a Vogue, a cover, so it's like, people who really can kind of stand out, they're resonating to Aquarian. And then you bring in Oprah Winfrey, and then you bring in Ellen DeGeneres, and, who, like, when you really listen to them, they speak from an Aquarian. Ellen DeGeneres is like, hey, it's like beautiful Aquarian themes under everything that she says of, we are all equal and we're all different and we're all equal, and we got to honor that. And we think of Abraham Lincoln, so it's like when we think of Aquarian, we can have the Uranus, and we can have the Saturn, and it just makes it one of the most fascinating energies. Okay. So yeah, figure out which, what do you resonate to? And then often I also say to Aquarians, hey, if you really resonate a lot to Uranus, why don't you try some Saturn? Try a practical approach to some of your, if you feel that you can't push some of your ideas forward, try in a meticulous, methodical way to get them. And maybe those who are very, very Saturn, why don't you let your, break out of your little shell a little bit more, like go ahead, let people see how just unusual you are, because you're going to have some unusual ideas. So all right, so these are things that we all want to be, we want to inspire us right now. Okay. Now we also have, I should mention, for another week, we have Mars and Sag. You can check out my YouTube. I take Mars and Sag all through the astrological houses. So, because remember, Mars makes things happen. And Sagittarius energy, that goes so beautifully with Aquarius, because Sag is the highest level, is that of tolerance and of, we're all different, but we can blend. So either try to blend, and if you can't blend, you have to at least allow for the differences. I just saw Do the Right Thing, and oh my gosh, you talk about no, everyone's different, and it's like, and there's no blending. You've got the, Korean grocery store, and then you've got the Italian pizzeria, and you've got, and it's like, you just watch it. I saw it when it came out and I loved it. I'll tell you, I just resaw it. It's one of the best movies ever made. I mean, it's so stunning. So just go watch it. And it's completely so American in that it's so Sagittarius. It's, boy, we are all so different. We have different cultures and we've come together in this country, right? And we've got to find a way to either blend. And if you can't blend, then allow for the differences. Okay. Oh my gosh. And there's a beautiful, you talk about nuance and duality. He talks about Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. And I will say, just because we had MLK Day, right? And beautiful Capricorn, and he had beautiful Pisces, Venus and moon, but there's a beautiful quote at the end of Do the Right Thing that Martin Luther King talks about the difference between a monologue and a dialogue, and that we need to have the dialogue, right? And that really corresponds with Venus in retrograde in Capricorn, because Venus is all about how do we relate to each other. Venus rules the seventh house and the second, but it's the Libra one-on-one relationship. So it's, let's really think about, with Venus in retrograde, we want to return to diplomatic dialogue, or at least let's return to dialogue, right? Where it's not just like, I'm going to yell at you for a while and then, okay, you're going to give me a monologue and then I'll give, it's like, okay, I'm going to share. And so let's connect to our humanitarian, unique ideas. I'm going to share, and then I'm going to take in what you say. And we're going to, with the Venus in Capricorn, have a practical approach and have, and then we can perfect that. And so you can blend all of that. Now, in another week, Mars is going to enter Capricorn, so it's going to elevate that. So let's enjoy the Sagittarius energy. And another example, because I've been listening to some interviews with Amy Klobuchar, the senator. Yeah, I love her. And, she was even saying, that there is something larger than our differences, because whenever you talk about differences, I do think of both Sag and Aquarius, and that is our democracy. And the US chart, which I'm going to talk about next week, I'm going to really look at, because, the US chart is very significant. We want to say, well, what's going on in the country, right? So when you look at it, you know, in that is our democracy, right? So something larger than our differences, that is our democracy. The US has that Sagittarius ascendant I like to talk about. So we are a country where the more we can connect to those highest ideals, right, the more in line we're going to be. And then it has the Aquarian moon. So Aquarius is very instrumental to the US, and it's got all the sensitive watery Cancer, which is beautiful, nurturing. And then it's got it's got Gemini energy. So, we're going to look at that next week, especially since we've got some energy right now that's activating it. We're going to talk about that a little bit. But so it's like we want to be embracing, right, our unique selves. We want to be returning to diplomatic dialogue. And, but we do have the Venus in Capricorn retrograde. We're going to have Mars enter Capricorn next week. And so we still have mentorship, to think about, what do we know, the wisdom, sharing the wisdom, and all of that. Now, okay, so let's go ahead, and I want to pull some cards for the Aquarius Oracle card spread. So it's sort of like saying, okay, how can we all bring in these energies? Yeah, we want to make the most of them. So, all right, and let's see. All right, so I'm just gonna, you know what? Let me add these in. Okay. All right. Okay, so, all right, so we want to, the first card is, if we embrace this energy, and if you're listening, you're part of the Through the Lens of Astrology group. And so I pull some inspirational messages to say, well, what can we want to have unified intention. Okay, that's a Pisces idea. Let's have a unified intention, and really connect with these energies. And then, we're in the world, and we're doing different things, but we're unified by intention. So, okay. And if you're listening, you're part of the group. Yeah, because thoughts are things. Yeah. Okay. So what energy, if we embrace, will help us to be Oh my God. Well, okay, that just popped out. That's just so classic. Okay. We want to be our most original self, right? What's going to help us be unique? I mean, this is just Uranus just flew out. It just flew out. And look, I've got the pile is this big. Okay. All right. This is pretty, this is perfect. All right. We really need to connect and embrace Uranus, which is allow for epiphanies, allow for alternative thinking, and allow for that electrifying energy, allow for awakenings. Yeah. So it's like, surprise yourself. And I even have a card that we're going to pick to help us do that. So, and this is also, it can also, it's alternative medicine. So you can embrace that, acupuncture, things like that. Um, and it's saying, it's like, so you want to embrace this. So really think about, well, how do you really feel about things? What are you really thinking about things? Yeah. And you want to, we often allow others to define us. Yeah. Aquarius is saying, no one can define me. You are one of a kind. So define yourself. That's what this means. Okay. So, wow. Well, okay. Yep. I love that one. Okay. Now, two, what energy, if we embrace, can help us to be maybe, uh, encourage us to reform? Okay. Because we want to be, there's a lot going on. We want to be good citizens, right? We want to reform because we're not allowed to break laws, obviously, but we are encouraged to reform laws that maybe we don't agree with, right? That's why we go try to do that. So, okay, how can we be, because it's such beautiful humanitarian energy. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay. The sun is going to help us to reform. All right. Now, the sun is beautiful. Now, we got it reversed, but the sun is so strong that we get the sun's energy whatever way you get it. So, shine your light brightly, okay? And so that really means illuminate. The sun is always illumination. Illuminate an area that you want to reform. I mean, the voting rights, it's so important that people are allowed to vote in an easy way, right? And that this country's making it it's made it very difficult, right, for certain groups. And that's why we're trying to do the voting rights on all of that. So let's illuminate that. Right, you illuminate what you want to reform, okay? And because it's reversed, I think in connection to this question, I think it means we got to make an extra effort. Yeah, that it's not as easy to do when it's this way, but it's saying this is what we got to do. We have to have illumination. The sun is transparency. Yeah, it's got to be transparent and easy and illuminated, right? So like let's look at those issues and that can be one way. Oh, that's really beautiful. Oh my gosh. And that's very hopeful. It's saying don't give up hope. In a double retrograde, often it is reflective energy. And so sometimes though people can get they either get anxious or they even get a little sad or depressed. So, you know, retrogrades just, it's like try to chill a little bit. It's like try to do a bubble bath, a walk in nature, something that you feel that you can just relax. And it's about rejuvenation. Okay. And there's often a lot of hidden information during a retrograde. So it's better for research. It's go ahead, ask the questions, do your research, journal, try to figure out the answers. But there's always so much information that we just don't know. So know that you're not going to know everything. Okay. And just gather what you can know, communicate as clearly as you can. Don't expect others to say, oh, but you knew what I meant. Well, maybe, maybe not. So clarify, be completely transparent, and check back in. Say, okay, well, what do you think I said? Did you get what I said just now? Like make sure you are being heard. Get that feedback because that you need, that happens. And then when the energy goes forward, Mercury's going to go forward February 3rd. Venus is going to go direct by the end of January. So, we're going to, be able to we're going to be able to implement then. We're going to have more information. But so I think, make sure that you're staying very hopeful. Okay. Some people feel like, well, what can I do? What can one person do? Are you kidding? Look what James Clyburn did for Biden. My God, turn that around. Yeah. I mean, and Allie Raceman, I mean, talked about, you know, what one adult can do. She's one of the gymnasts who was sexually abused, and she said, it just takes one adult to do the right thing. It takes so one person, extremely powerful. When we get the sun reversed, sometimes we forget how powerful we are, because the sun is our consciousness. The sun is very important. All right, it illuminates. Okay. Now, what energy, if we embrace, will benefit through the lens of astrology group? Yeah, because we want to, a lot of us know each other and we want to benefit the group. And that's so Aquarian. Oh my God. Okay, you know what? Well, we're going to take, wow. Okay, well, we got these. Wow. Okay, the first one, Mercury. All right, so how can we really benefit the group right now? All right, communicate. We're going to communicate. Mercury, my goodness, Aquarius is all about the idea. So this means, it really does mean you really do need to be letting people know, what are you thinking? Okay. And what are your ideas? Because it says, okay, that just went flying. Mercury, the messenger. Okay. Your verbal skills are at their peak, so put them to good use. All right. Pen that novel, write that letter, communicate. All right. And then we got the Descendant. Oh, that's fascinating. So, how can we benefit the group? Well, Venus rules the Descendant. Now, that's interesting. When we get this card reversed, that's kind of in a retrograde. We do have to focus on how are we connecting and relating to people, right? And, this does mean that we need to repair some relationships. We need to reconnect, right? We need to review some relationships when we get the Descendant reversed, especially with the Venus retrograde. And because it's an Aquarius spread, it means there's going to be some unique communication. You're going to have some alternative ideas, or some ideas that surprise people, or there's going to have to be you're going to have to share what you're really thinking, to then with especially your one-on-one relationships, but with the group, then it is a relating energy. And the seventh house is hugely social. It's a big social house, so that's gorgeous. Okay. Now, this is the wild card surprise. I love this part of the Aquarius spread because, and we got the Uranus. Okay, so what energy, if we embrace, will bring surprise into our life? Okay, and I always say, in a relationship, in any kind, like, I think in a collaboration, whether it's a professional or personal relationship, allow people to surprise you. Give people the chance, right? If they're working for you, if they're dating you, whatever, allow for that. And it's wonderful, right? And so what energy in general can, if we embrace, will help us to bring surprise into our life? Yeah, in a positive way. It's like, bring a wild card, bring some, we want to, like, it helps to look at things from a new perspective. Okay, here we go. Oh, okay. Well, that popped out. Okay, well, that's beautiful. Let's just pick another. Okay. All right, that's gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Okay, Jupiter popped out. Jupiter popped out, and it really popped out like this, so we get the whole meaning. Okay, and Jupiter's beautiful. Jupiter in Pisces. All right. Okay, so we want to bring surprise in. We have to be hopeful. Jupiter is optimistic. Jupiter is, abundance. So we need to believe again that surprise is good, and that we need to be optimistic. And that's even stretching yourself. Travel if you can. I mean, there are a lot of travel restrictions right now, but travel, publishing, and Jupiter is also, dealing with people who are different, right? So it's like, allow somebody to come in who's different. That goes beautifully with Aquarius. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, actually, I think that's a gorgeous one. All right. It popped out like that. We're going to take it. That's fantastic. Woo. All right. I'm loving this spread. Okay. Now, okay, here we go. Now we've got, oh yeah, we want to always, now we talked about how could we benefit through the lens of astrology group. Well, we want to benefit all groups. So now it's like, how do you benefit your neighborhood? How do you benefit the country, right? We want to kind of say, let's benefit the world, right? The country and the world. We want to be good citizens always. Okay. So if we embrace this, how can we benefit the group? And I was watching what Steve Hartman on CBS Sunday morning, and I was so surprised. He talked to a tarot reader and he asked this question. I ask it every week, right? But he said, yeah, what can we do for the country? And it's like, because we have free will, all right? Nothing, it's like we have free will. So that's why I do these, to say, let's connect, let's make positive, wonderful things happen, right? Okay. That's why we do these groups. So let's connect with this energy and let's benefit the world. It's like unified intention. Okay. Benefit the country. Amen. Yeah. Because the country, oh boy, I tell you, I love Biden's speeches. Just because, he's got Sagittarius rising, right? It's totally in alignment with the country and with Mars and Sag. And so there's wonderful optimism and message. And I love him. I think he's most effective speaker when he connects to his Scorpio and he passionately, because Scorpio is intense, it's direct, and it's about the truth. And he gets right in here like this and he says, I'm going to tell you. And then Sag is the message. So when you have Scorpio and Sag and you passionately reveal your message, I think he's really powerful that way. And I think if anything, he's been trying to be so civil and so like such civility, which is like Scorpio. It's like holding off back the Scorpio, and the Scorpio has been coming through recently. It's like he's tired of being quiet. And so I mean, so anyway, I think that is very effective. And I think that we're going to see a lot more of that kind of passion come through, and his numbers are going to go up because he's got it. He's got the Scorpio passion with the Sag message. All right. Now, okay. So we want to benefit the group. Okay. Amen. Okay. Let's benefit the whole group. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got Jupiter again. All right, we got a Jupiter message. Okay, now Jupiter, we got 2 Jupiter messages. So I got a double deck in here. All right, so we can benefit the group by connecting, all right, to Jupiter. We got to be optimistic. Retrogrades, we can get a little, yeah, as I said, people get worried during retrogrades. They get anxious. So we got to stay very positive. We got to stay optimistic. And we've got to connect to Jupiter's healing energy. Yeah. And to Jupiter's tolerance. We can help the group because Jupiter is connected to Sagittarius. So that's highlighting Mars, but also Jupiter in Pisces. It's connecting to universal love. It's elevating Piscean energy as well because that has the 2 rulers. Wow. Oh my gosh. And the Mercury elevates Gemini and Virgo. So yeah. So planets can elevate energy. Wow. Okay. Well, this just popped out. Okay. All right. Where we go. How can we better communicate, right? Our ideas. Oh my gosh. And the 6th house popped out. Okay. I love Animal Crackers. That's a Marx Brothers movie. Oh boy. I love the Marx Brothers. Okay. How do we better communicate our ideas? We connect to our 6th house. All right. So the 6th house is our daily routine. It's like, when do you go to bed? When do you wake up? What do you eat? What's your diet? Okay, what do you do? So, and it's also, so it's really saying by really having the daily routine that supports you, you're going to be better able to communicate all of your ideas. It's a Virgo house, and we have Mercury. That's also the mechanics. So make sure that your idea, think about it, and then break down the mechanics. Maybe you say, oh, I have an idea, and I think we can do this, and let's do it this way. Well, let's make sure you break it down into the smallest parts. That's 6th house. Okay. That's a 6th house Virgo. So you kind of, get your routine in order, do that. And then because it is a writing house, because it's Virgo, and that goes with the Aquarius spread, write it down, but in breaking down in the mechanics, get the details share the details. So if we're going to communicate, what will enhance our communication? You're going to communicate Aquarian ideas. You're going to communicate your most original thoughts, but in a more Virgo way, in a detailed, specific way. Okay. So that's how you combine sixth house with that. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yeah, this is so gorgeous. This is I'm always just amazed. We got a lot of planets. We got, wow. Well, yeah, we got a lot of planets in this one. And the sun even elevates Leo. So that also means those signs, those zodiac signs are elevated. And it's like, yeah, you got to step up to the plate and share your gifts. We need you. All right. And especially, boy, Capricorns and Aquarius, woo, we really, big time. And then we've still got the Sag right now, and then all of these planets that we chose, the rulers of those signs, yeah, they've got to step up. And the air, because the element of air, yeah, it's really about what are we thinking and how are we going to think and how are we going to be connecting. And it's the dialogue, right? The dialogue versus the monologue. Okay. Now, all right. So we are going to, coming up in part two, we are going to do the Mercury retrograde spread, right? And I'm going to talk a little bit more about how can we connect to retrograde energy when it involves our communication, and then how can we balance that with the Venus retrograde? And if you're enjoying this video, please like and subscribe. And if you're listening to me on the radio, well, check out Heather Arielle's House of Astrology on YouTube. You can check out my Facebook page, and yeah, join the conversation. All right, so in part two of the show, we are going to do a Mercury retrograde spread. If you missed part one, check out Heather Arielle's House of Astrology YouTube channel, and you can see we did a wonderful Aquarius unique oracle card spread and really celebrated Aquarius energy. So now we're going to do a unique oracle card spread for to bring in the Mercury retrograde energy. Okay, and Mercury goes retrograde several times a year. You want to embrace the RE words. It's a time where I know many people feel anxious. It's we just don't have all the information. So you want to be reconnecting and recharging, right? And rejuvenating. So, okay. Now, I had a little technological glitch, so I pulled these cards. So we're going to go over these cards now. It's going to be a little bit different from how I normally do it. All right. So the first card is reflection. What energy, if we embrace, like what's an area that maybe if we reflect on, it's going to ultimately lead us to a beautiful path of rejuvenation. And we got the Neptune card. Okay, that is connected to Pisces. So, as the card says, a psychic gateway has opened. Quiet your mind and connect to your guides. That's beautiful. So, if we want to reflect on this area, reflect on your meditation, reflect on your emotions, right? And your empathy, and reflect on your imagination and your creativity. It's an area to, once you reflect, then you can think about, well, do you need to spend more time doing these things? Okay, now the second card was really okay. What is what is an area to reconnect? Right. And two cards popped out for that. The air card, which the element is that's connected to Aquarius. All right. It's also Gemini. It's Libra. It's of the mind. So we need to reconnect to our ideas. We need to reconnect to our thoughts. And we got the Uranus card reverse. So connect, and that's Aquarius. So this very much is Aquarius and Uranus. I mean air and Uranus, that's very much Aquarius energy. So we need to reconnect to all of that and honor our unique ideas and thoughts, okay? And alternative medicine as well. Okay, card three is the reignition card. Oh my gosh, what do we need to reignite? We have a new modality, mutability. It means we need to be flexible. We need to adapt. Okay. Always, when we get this card, I bring up Charles Darwin. Yeah, it's not about how smart you are, how strong you are. It's can you adapt, right? We can bend like a willow, right? You're not going to break. Let's bend. And it's about, it's like being flexible. Let's stretch a little bit. Let's do our stretches. let's let's bend like a willow, okay? And we can reignite this area. So let's not get so fixed, right? Let's not get rigid. We don't want to be rigid in our thinking. We want to allow the insight and data to inform us, right? Okay. Then we start a new three cards, and the first card of that one, we go to refinement. And we got the Pisces card. Beautiful Pisces. So an area to refine. Again, what are you doing for your meditation? Okay. What are you doing for your creativity, for your spirituality, all of that? You're going to refine these areas, right? And because maybe you need to do a little bit more, or maybe you're a little depleted and you need to say, you know what, I'm giving so much, I need to do a little more meditation, rejuvenate myself. Or it's just an area to refine. It's like you don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, you refine that energy. And so, with the retrograde energy, and the next card's going to be the reframe card. But so with Mercury retrograde, it is in Aquarius. The sun is in Aquarius as well. So they do speak to each other. It's going to dip back into Capricorn, and then it's going to go back into Aquarius. So just keep that in mind of, the retrograde spread is, we are all the RE words. We're always then embracing the Aquarian energy, right? The unique original energy, the humanitarian energy, the group energy, right? So that is the beautiful awakening that we want to do with this gorgeous energy. So okay, so Mercury retrograde, we have the spiritual creative Neptune, which is connected to Pisces. So already this Pisces energy is extremely elevated right now. Yeah, and remember, it is the energy of transcendence. Okay, and of real sensitivity. We always need the Pisces to remind us to say, hey, hey, we're connected. There's universal love, right? We need to be reminded of that. And then we have, okay, with the air and this, that means Gemini and Libra is also elevated. So we need to work at making connections and communicating. And, because it's a retrograde, you can journal. They can be private thoughts right now. But then once February 3rd and the energy goes forward, then you may want to share them, and you can share them one-on-one or with a bigger group. That's up to you. But at least connect with your own thoughts and organize them, and you can journal them if you want to do that. Okay. And then, and with, we did get Uranus reverse with this, so that's, alternative medicine can help balance us out, right? Embrace all things Uranian. And then with the mutability, I mean, that is one of my favorite cards. And just look at that. I love this watercolor by artist Tom Cummins. Just the mutability. You see it's like let's be fluid, right? Let's be fluid. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay. And okay, and then the next card coming up is going to be the reframe card. So we're going to pick a card to reframe. And I got that idea because there was the Marilyn Monroe reframed, and I haven't got a chance to see the whole thing. I just saw a small part of it. But I thought that's that's what a perfect retrograde idea and show. So it's like, think of something that maybe you think you know what's going on. And then if we embrace this energy, it may help us reframe the idea a little bit, okay? Say, oh, we can see it from maybe a new angle, okay? Something that maybe we feel that it's hard to figure out. Okay. All right, there we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. Okay, we got the fire card. Okay, now what do we want to reframe? Our energy levels. Okay. Oh my gosh. And fire is connected to Sagittarius. So, okay, that brings up the Mars and Sag. All right. Well, we got one more week to really enjoy that Sagittarius fire. But this fire card is a big deal because that means we want to reframe how are we taking actions? Well, that's perfect for retrograde energy, right? Because we do take actions in a retrograde, but we just want to be extra thoughtful with them. So maybe if you're like, oh, you're just like racing ahead, it's like, okay, you know, or maybe if you're like paralyzed because you're like, oh my gosh, sometimes that happens in retrogrades and people don't want to do anything. No, no, take action, right? But just maybe be a little more reflective and be thoughtful, but definitely take those actions. So that's beautiful. Okay, so we want to reframe taking actions. And Mars and Sag, so remember that tolerance, embracing things that are different. Yeah, I just saw oh, I just saw just now Ariana DeBose interviewed interviewed by Trevor Noah, and West Side Story, one of my favorite, this is one of my all-time favorite musicals, man. I've not yet seen the new movie. I just can't wait to see it. And she's doing the Rita Moreno role of Anita. I saw her on SNL. She was amazing. So, but that's like, based on Romeo and Juliet. It's all about, and it's about the differences, right? So, not being able to blend. What happens, right? When, so it's like we need tolerance. That's Sagittarius. We need tolerance and we need blending. So it's such an important story. And oh my God, the Pisces card just popped up again. Okay, we're gonna take it. We got double Pisces. That also rules dance, everything. So, but okay. So that's a Mars and Sag activity. Yeah, yeah, go see that. Go see that story. Listen to the music, go see the movie. Okay. Now, so look at this. How are we going to, which I didn't even say, we just did the reframe. Okay. What do we want to reinforce or recommit? Okay. Oh my gosh. We are going to reinforce Piscean energy. Pisces need to recommit. Oh my gosh. Okay. So we need to recommit to Piscean ideas, which we just talked about because we already got the Pisces card. I have a couple decks here. Look at this. This is a really elevated message for all of us. Okay. If we recommit, right, we need to recommit to our universal love, right? To our sensitivity, to meditation, yeah, to our creativity, to everything Piscean. We need to recommit. Everything Piscean needs to be reinforced right now. It is the transcendence. It's the most elevated sign. Yeah, it represents the highest levels of consciousness. Okay. So, oh my goodness. All right. This is a really big message. All right. And this also means, because if you have Pisces energy, yeah, it is so needed right now. You got to recommit. You got to, know that you are full of just such beautiful gifts. You got to reinforce them and you got to share them. Yeah. Oh my. Wow. That's a really strong message. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah. And I think of Sidney Poitier. He's Pisces. I wrote about him in my book. Yeah. Oh, so it's beautiful. And it's also recommit to your ideals. This is recommit to vision, recommit to being a visionary, a dreamer, yeah. Poetry, allow the poetic experience in. It's like, yeah, you go for the ideal. You don't settle when you got Pisces energy. If it's in your chart or if you're being inspired to embrace it, you want to strive, right? For the ideal. Okay. Now, all right. Okay, so now we've got, all right, an area we want to resurrect. So now we've got two cards, because this is an 8-card spread. We want to resurrect, and then we want to rejuvenate, the ultimate path to rejuvenation. Okay, so what is an area to, resurrect? Okay. So retrogrades, I find them really restorative when I practice all of this. Otherwise, yeah, you can get I used to get really anxious, but now you just try to figure out as much as you can and you rejuvenate. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're going to resurrect. We're going to resurrect Aries. Okay, so Aries energy. Aries begins the entire Western zodiac. So this is also calling our Aries. You got to be, you may feel like, I can take a break. Nope, nope. We need you. So resurrection for the Aries. Step up to the plate because this is fearless energy. This is pioneering energy. This is independent. Yeah. And it's the fastest moving energy in the zodiac. So, especially during a double retrograde, people may be afraid to do something. The Aries is like, let's just do it. So, it's like Aries can kind of be there nudging, and it's really funny because this is the whole gamut, right? Aries and Pisces. This is like, whoa. So that's really, really beautiful. All right. So we need the energy that begins the whole Western zodiac. We need the highest manifestation of the zodiac. Wow, you put these together. Woo, that's pretty incredible energy. Oh my goodness. Okay, that is really gorgeous. So we're going to resurrect that, and we should feel very powerful with that. And Aries is fire. All right, now the path to rejuvenation. Okay. Wow. I'll tell you, I mean, I'm part of the group. I say it all the time. I'm not above it. I'm part of it. These messages are for me as well as for you. So I heed the call too. Okay. All right. And the path to rejuvenation. All right. Wow. Oh man. Okay. Oh my gosh. Well, we got a double mutable. This one has two doubles. Okay. And Pisces is mutable. All right. Mutable. But this also elevates Gemini. Yeah. Hello, Gemini. Okay. It elevates the Sagittarius. It elevates the mutable signs. Okay. It elevates Virgo, right? So the mutable signs, here we go. So the path to regeneration is an adaptation. I say it all the time, because Charles Darwin said it's not about the most intelligent or the strongest. It is, can you adapt? Right? Yeah. And we do have a lot of that fixed energy now. So let's bend like a willow and know that, yeah, you're not going to break. You're just going to get a little more flexible. Yeah. So let's stretch. We got to do some stretching. It's like, yeah, let's do our stretches and start to, yeah. Woo, okay, do a little dancing. All right. Wow. Oh my goodness. All right. That is absolutely gorgeous. Okay. And I would just say, I did an extra layer to the winter solstice spread last week, and we did get Saturn and Uranus, and that is completely connected to Aquarius. So, woo. All right, Aquarians. Yeah. Here we go. Yep. Uh, it really does reinforce that energy as well. I'm going to be putting these spreads up on my Instagram. So you can go to Heather Arielle's House of Astrology. You can go to my Facebook. And yeah, and if you want to see the beautiful artwork by artist Tom Cummins, and you can really take a closer look at the images. All right. But this is so exciting. I always love these. And we just have, a minute, 1 or 2 minutes left. I do just want to pull a couple cards because I always like to do this. I want to pull a couple cards for our president, yeah, and our vice president, because we want to say, can we have some beautiful healing intention of maybe some energy that we can do to just put beautiful energy out there to strengthen, yeah, the leaders. Because I always say, pray for people in charge. Doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. Pray for them, right? Because anyone who has the power to raise the consciousness of the planet, yeah, we want to give them some love and good thoughts and help them do their job the best they can do. And I also want to credit Lisa Desjardins, which I quoted from a beautiful interview that she did with Harry Dunn, who's one of the police officers at the Capitol January 6th. And I quoted from her interview, and I forgot to mention, yeah, so that was when I was talking about Harry Dunn a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that was from her interview that she did on PBS News. I love that with Judy Woodruff. Okay, so let's get a couple of cards now. Okay, here we go. Oh, man. Woo! Okay, that was... Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to pull another one now because we got to just get them and then we're going to talk about them. This beautiful healing energy, Chiron reversed, is beautiful. Chiron reversed, that means we really need to believe and understand that we can heal this country. Okay, that is, how can we help? We can understand, we got to let the light back in, right? And understand that we can heal. We got to have tons of optimism and hope with that. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay. Oh, man. And it goes with the double Jupiter from earlier. Jupiter and Chiron are linked. Okay. Oh my gosh. And Neptune. And we got Neptune here. So we have got some double up of, we got a lot of doubles here. Okay, you'll get to see that. Okay, so how can we really help? All right. We have to really connect with Neptune, with Chiron. Connect to the most compassionate. Neptune is connected to Pisces. It is compassion, it is empathy, it is universal love. It is understanding that we are connected. Okay, right. And that is beautiful. It's also, Neptune has boundaries. And so, we have to really respect boundaries. And so understand we're all different, right? And it's like we try to blend. If we can't, we must at least like do the right thing. It's like we've got to then learn how to get along, because you see what happens when we don't. So we're going to respect people's boundaries, right? And we're going to know that we can heal, and we're going to spread the universal love and the compassion and the empathy, and it's going to help to bring us together. All right. Okay. So all right, well, that's our show. Until next time, enjoy and embrace transformation.